video, we're doing the Easter eggs and fun prediction for the MCU for Season 7, Episode 13 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We were spoiled or not cut up, so it's the series finale of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the episode's title was called What We Are Fighting For, which is obviously, it's a reference to fighting for, what we're fighting for is family, with Fitz and Simmons fighting for their daughter, Mac, what's called Coulson, May, Daisy, and Mac and Yo-Yo all fighting for family, with Cora and whatnot and getting involved. But you have this episode start right where the last episode ended off with Fitz appearing, and the team has a bunch of questions for them, and you have this MCU name drop of that this device that they used this portal that they used last episode was this thing called the Quantum Realm, which was a reference to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Was called Avengers Endgame, where they were able to time travel through that quantum realm and whatnot. So they are using the same technology that the Avengers were using. So yeah, but you have Fitz basically saying that screw this world timeline. We have to go back to our original timeline. But Coulson has to remind him that this is not like a virtual world. It's not like the framework where everyone is fake, even though there were some people that were real. But these are real people that we can't just leave the Chronicoms here let everyone die. That's not right. So they come up with this plan that they're going to bring the Chronicoms with them to 2019 in their present, or in their timeline, and you have Sousa basically says he's gonna sacrifice himself, and turn on the device or whatever, device, so they can actually teleport them back home. And you actually see this really shocked face of Daisy, even though it's supposed to be like a dramatic moment or whatever. Just seeing Daisy's face, basically saying, "No, not again. We're not going through this. Like, I've had enough heartbreak and like death for a lifetime. We're not gonna do this. I want happiness." Like, basically. So I really thought that was funny, but you have Mac basically call D, and he actually refers to the D again later on in the episode, but I'll get to that. But you have what's called. You have Deke mention why he's the one that stays here, because he knows how to turn on the power. He knows how to like engineer this technology, and he basically says he's a rock god here, which is true, I guess, because of the whole Deke squad. So he's very comfortable in 1983. So it's a perfect fit for him. And you have Mac and Deke's friendship actually has grown over the past 2 seasons, where they are actually paired off quite a bit actually in the past 2 seasons, which is very interesting. But Mac actually references saying that, "Can you look after little Alfie for me?" Obviously referring to himself, and then also everyone else. But I don't know if everyone else would be born yet, because I'm not 100% sure when Matt, or when Fitzsimmons and Daisy. I know when Daisy's born, because that was 88, but I'm not 100% sure when Fitzsimmons are born. I don't know if they're born yet, so I don't know if they can't really look after he can't really look after them, but you can look after what's called Mac and May and Coulson, because I'm pretty sure they're all born at this time, or been born at this time, so he can look after them. So yeah, and I don't know if the other people are gonna be born in this timeline, because everything has screwed up so badly. So yeah, and you have, right after the Zephyr 1 takes off, you have the the Shield people that are still alive. They're basically confront Deke, asking, "Are you the new man in charge?" Because he knew all this technology and whatnot. So he's probably the more experienced person to run a business, I get, or this organization. But I really like the music cue that they used for this scene, where it was actually the music from Code Lit Yellow, his when we were introduced to his business, back in last season. So I really liked that fact, and it looks like Deke is now the new director in this new timeline. I really want to know what Deke is doing now in 2020 in their timeline, and see how different Shield is in there compared to what we find out in this end of the and in this timeline at the end of the series. So yeah, but it's this is very coincidence. I'm assuming. I don't think it was on purpose, but someone pointed out that the name that they went, the name of the star that Fitz and Simmons went to, Fitzsimmons and Enoch went to, Alia, which is obviously the name of their daughter, is actually coincidentally also the name of a name of a thing called, or another name for Sky, which is obviously the name that Daisy gave herself at this beginning of the series. So it could be a way that Fitzsimmons actually named their daughter after their friend, their sister Daisy, because Daisy used to be called Sky. But I highly doubt that actually has happened. So, but talking about the fact that they Fitzsimmons and Enoch went to the star named Alia, we catch up with Piper and Flint, and you actually have Enoch saying that all his time with Fitz has made him more capable of going in and out of like places and stealing things and whatnot. We see the influence on him, but we have Piper and Flint after the finale, who they were flying off back. They were going back to the lighthouse, I believe it was, but obviously it didn't happen this way. Where they ended up changing course, and Fitz or Enoch tells them to stay here, which I highly doubt they stayed there for over 5 years. So I wonder exactly in this timeline, while Fitz and Simmons and Enoch were looking away for them to time travel, I wonder exactly what Piper and Flint were doing those 5 years or whatever. But we never find out. But you have Piper actually mentioned that, are you messing with time again, because of season 5, where they were trying to find out how to stop the time loop from happening and breaking the earth apart. So I really like that callback there. But we find out exactly why Fitz had to stay, other than the reason of the actor not being here, being available at the time. It's actually a story. There's actually a story reason, and I'm actually glad that there is a story reason, instead of just being wiped away and like, yeah, it just had to happen that way. It just, no one cared. It didn't care to write a reason, but the reason was because the implant that Simmons had in her neck wasn't going to be able to be worked on Fitz because of his previous brain damage from all the way back to the first season finale. So I really liked that they had an actual reason why Fitz could not be on this mission, and not because of his brain damage. So yeah, and during this whole part in the quantum realm, we have the only thing that's noticed or of note in the whole like bad guy side is that Nathaniel refers to the quantum realm looking at like a Grateful Dead poster, which is Grateful Dead is apparently a band from 1965. I don't know any. I don't know if I know any music from them. I never looked it up, but it's apparently a band from 1965, and it's a rock band. So, and you have this really interesting thing that happened in this episode. I really did not see this coming at all. But you have Mac catch up. I believe it was Yo Yo. It was, and they were saying that we have unfinished business at the temple. Obviously, talking about the temple from last season's finale, and we find out that the people that were helping Simmons rescue the team in the hazmat suits were actually our team that lived there this season that came back in time to help Simmons rescue the team to send a new team back in time, and so it does it all over again. So it's a giant big loop, just kind of similar to how similar to how season 5 was a time loop. This is a time loop here. So I really, really, really thought that was cool. But you have uh, what's it? May, Coulson, Daisy, and Mac on a Quinjet, I believe it was. No, it was on Zephyr 1 still, I believe. And you have May flying the Zephyr, and you have Mac compliment her saying that some serious flying. You have some serious flying, and then you have May a reply saying that used to be all I did, referring to how back in season 1 she was recruited as just the pilot. She was not supposed to be in the field. She didn't want to be in the field. So seeing her just saying that that's all she used to do was a nice callback, because showing the growth that she has here, and later on there is something else that shows that she had grown since season 1. But I'll get that in a bit. And you have, after the temple was destroyed by, surprisingly, the Chronicoms from the season, which I assumed it was the Chronicoms from last season, but apparently not. Just so it's a time loop here. So everything that happened in this season was supposed to happen, because they were the one that destroyed the temple, was the one that saved the team in the temple. So it's very interesting that it all came full circle. But you have, after the team rescued the past team in the temple, they head off to the lighthouse to stop the Chronicoms from attacking the lighthouse. And you have Yo-Yo using her powers, and you have Sousa say, so that's what she can do. And it's referring to earlier on in the season, episode, I believe it was episode 9. I believe it was, that was 8 or 9, where where it was the whole thing where Yo-Yo had to use her powers to stop the time drive from teleporting us further in time, using her powers. And this is the very first time that Sousa has actually seen Yo-Yo doing what she could do, and he replies, so that's what she can do. So I really like that this was the very first time he actually knew what she could do. So yeah. And you have this whole big showdown between Nathaniel and Daisy, and Nathaniel is bringing up the fact that Daisy was needed to be rescued by Jiaying by Cal in the season 2 finale, but with Nathaniel, he was able to do what he had to do by just snapping her neck by himself, just digging at Daisy, making her angry. And then you have, like I said, showing the growth of May here, where Coulson and Sybil are having a conversation, and Sybil asks Coulson, "And what comes next?" And all of a sudden, the the like the glass above Sybil breaks, and Meg comes down, knocks her out, and she says the cavalry, which is she's embracing the name and the cavalry, because when we first met her, she didn't like the name the cavalry. She didn't want anyone to call her that. So she's claiming the name the cavalry in pride, and like she's happy with she's actually happy that she's able to take the name and use it to empower herself. So yeah, and I don't know if this actually is true, right or not. That it's what I thought it was, but when the Chronicoms were coming into the attack the lighthouse, we see this guy, one of them, right up front. And as far as I know, this is probably supposed to be the same actor or the same character of Malachi, but since the original actor was cast in the show Stargirl, he was busy there, so he might not have been able to be brought back for this episode, so they obviously had to recast him, but they never actually mentioned his name or not, if that actually was supposed to be Malachi or not, but he was the one that was in charge of the attack on Lighthouse in the season 6 finale, so I'm assuming that it is him, but it was kind of jarring for me to see a different actor play that character, even though he wasn't a big part of season 6. It just was very jarring to see that a new actor. But you have this whole plan where May went to give the Chronicoms empathy using Cora's powers to amplify it, I believe it was, but I'm not 100% sure what was going on with Cora's powers. I could be wrong, but I believe Cora was amplifying May's powers to help give the Chronicoms empathy, and it turns out to work. And you have the last phrase of the Chronicoms of saying, "As we have always been," saying we're friends of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's basically the catchphrase that all the Chronicoms use, saying as I has always been. So yeah, but going back to this fight between Daisy and Nathaniel, he actually says I can go all day, which possibly could be a reference to Captain America's catchphrase of saying I can do this all day, but I don't know if that's actually the case or not. But it's a very similar phrasing. So yeah, but you have this whole thing where what Daisy had to do was basically sacrifice herself to stop Nathaniel and the Chronicoms by blowing the ship up and using her powers and exploding it outwards to basically destroy the ship. And it's very similar to how her powers were first introduced to us back in season 2, episode 11, where it exploded and the temple was crumbling down and all the whole music cue and whatnot was actually was the same music, but a very altered music, I believe it was, but it was the same music that we were introduced to her as in season 2, episode 11. So yeah, and I do really like the little detail where after Daisy sacrifices herself, Cora is bringing her back to life using her powers. So you have Daisy's mom's powers, where she was trying to kill her back in season 2 finale, whereas in this series finale, her sister's powers were able to save Daisy. So I really, really like that. So we have after this, basically with a reunion with Fitzsimmons and their daughter Alia, and there was actually a detail that I forgot to mention. I forgot to write down, but in the module that she was actually in, you actually see a little monkey stuffed animal or whatever. So you obviously have Fitzsimmons or Fitz's obsession with monkeys. So obviously he had to get a monkey stuffed animal for her. So yeah, but you have a year flash forward, and you have the team basically reunion in like this like simulation like framework scenario where they're in like a virtual scenario of the speakeasy that was a big part of the season, and they're catching up with one another. What's called? You have Yo-Yo referred to say that Turtle Man is always late, referring to Max and his nickname that Yo-Yo gave him in the season 3 finale, and we find out that the thing that Piper wanted from Fitz and Simmons was that she wanted her best friend back, so they brought Davis back as an LMD like LMD Coulson is. They brought Davis back, so I really like that detail there. That their friendship is so strong that Piper really wanted Davis. So yeah, and you have May reference saying that I fought aliens, demons, and androids, which is obviously referring to the past basically 5 seasons. Like she's obviously referring to the the whole entire series, but you have demons, aliens, demons, and androids were obviously the last three seasons, with the Kree, Izel, Sarge, and then obviously the Chronicons. So the past 3 seasons she was summing up, and you have Simmons say that Alia is learning how to swim right now, and it's a possible reference to season 1, episode 22, when Fitz and Simmons were under the bottom of the ocean. Fitz actually says that Simmons is a better swimmer than him, so it's a possible reference there, but it's a very big stretch. Someone just said it, like it could be, but I don't know if that's actually the case. And we find out that Sousa and Daisy's relationship is going strong, and Daisy made Sousa watch E.T., which actually came out in 1982. So since majority of this episode or the season was taking place in the 1980s, that started in 1982 and ended up in 1983. It's nice little connection, I guess, in a sense there, where it was a very appropriate reference, I guess, in a sense. So yeah, but you have basically everyone wanting Coulson to come visit them, saying Daisy wants him to come on Zephyr 3. May wants him to come visit her at the academy, which I'll get to that later in a bit, because I have a lot to say there. But the way that this whole conversation started about was that Daisy actually says, "What are you going to do, AC?" Which is obviously her nickname for him. That was actually back all the way back till from season 1, episode 4, I believe it was, with the I Spy episode where she was in the car and Coulson was asking, "Can you have you ever robbed a bank and whatnot?" So it's a nice little callback to all the way till season 1, which I don't think we've actually heard it in a while. I don't even think it was even in season 2 to all the way till end. I think it was only in season 1 that she ever called him AC, but I could be completely wrong. Comment down below if I am wrong or not. But yeah, but then you have all these references where I'm not gonna name specific episodes because it was a lot, but there's one part I will reference different episodes. But you have basically the dead squad or whatever, where basically the whole entire team have died at some point at one point or another, where they've say that Coulson died, basically, like 7 times Coulson says or something like that. Then you have Fitz dead, Daisy died, and May died, and so on and so forth, or whatever. But then you have uh, Mac or Fitz say that no, Yo-Yo says that I was a zombie at one point, referring to obviously the season 6 finale. But then Fitz chimes in saying Mac was 1 and 2, and that was obviously a reference to season 2, episode 9, when he was the Kree zombie person. And Yo-Yo actually says that was I there for that, and obviously she wasn't, because she wasn't introduced until season 3, episode 11. So yeah, she wasn't there, so she had no idea that Mac was a zombie at one point. So yeah, and you have this like little moment with reminiscing about Deke saying, Daisy saying I don't even exist in this Deke's timeline, and Deke Max reassuring them that Deke's fine, saying that Deke is fine. He's probably playing Madison Square Garden with the Deke Squad or whatever, but obviously he doesn't know that he's now in charge, or he's the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So yeah, and there's a part of this episode, finale, a lot of people took issue with is May's ending, which people are saying that it's not a happy ending, when I see it a different way, and people are saying that it's not a happy ending because May and Coulson are not together. When why can't someone be single and like you can still be single and be happy? And here you have Coulson, or you have May as a new teacher at a Coulson Academy, which has been established since last season that this was most likely where we're heading, because in the very first episode of the season 6 was called Mac tasked Dr. Benson to find names for Shield Academy under the name of Coulson. So that's where Coulson Academy came from. They were heading in that direction before, since then. But then we found out in season 5, Coulson wanted May to be there teaching at the academy. So that's why we have it here. May is honoring his wishes and actually accepted that he has officially died, and she's gonna move on with her life and try to help new people make S.H.I.E.L.D. the best that it can be. So she's doing what Coulson wanted. So I don't understand why it's not a happy ending when it actually is a happy ending. So yeah, but we have Fitz saying that his little this little monkey is pulling on his leg, talking about Alia and how he finally got his little monkey since season 1 that he was referencing, and the code that Mac gives Coulson 136 is actually the total episode numbers, the total episode count that S.H.I.E.L.D. has had of all 7 seasons is 136. And then we have this ending with Mac where he's basically has this trench coat on and he's on this helicarrier, showing that he's the new Nick Fury of this new timeline. And then you have this little sweet moment with Daisy and Coulson basically saying goodbye, and basically saying it's funny that what can happen when someone believes in you, showing how much of an impact Coulson had on Daisy's life back since season 1, and showing how she's grown since then, and now she's using her new showing how that the impact on Coulson, or how much Coulson had an impact on her. She's using that as motivation to help Cora become the better person that she can be, and not be the bad person that she was going to be if we weren't able to reach her in time. So I really liked that we see that Daisy's going and helping other people now, like Coulson was back in season 1. So yeah. And you have a little detail is that the book that we see that Fitz and Simmons were reading in the flashback of the Cosmos book, I don't know exactly what the title was, is now been given to Sousa since she's now in space. He's interested in, I guess, in that kind of stuff. He's reading that same book. And at the very final scene of this episode, you have Coulson getting a new upgraded Lola, and it actually is able to fly again since back in it hadn't been able to fly since the end of season 1. So we have you had Mac repair it and actually give it an upgrade where it's now can turn black. And it's the shot that the show ended with is the exact same shot basically where Coulson in the pilot was actually flying up with Sky at the time, and it was flying into the screen, where in this episode it's just Coulson flying into the screen. But some little details you may have missed was actually in the very background of the shot of when he's about to fly in the screen, you actually see the Triskelion is up and running. So this whole new shield in the last year has been a lot more like fully formed shield than has ever been since season 1, because we have new Zephyr 1s, or Zephyrs, up to at least 3. We have the Academy back and up and running, the Triskelion up and running. So it's really cool to see that shield is back better than ever. So yeah, but one last detail you may have missed was actually there's the street signs that Coulson was on is actually shown, and it says Colpack Street and Arnold something, I forget what it was, but those names are actually last names of the visual effects artists that has done this since season 1. It's who is Mark Kolpak and Sabrina Arnold. So it's nice that they did put themselves basically in the final scene of the show. So yeah. But for the MCU prediction I have is, I know it's not going to happen, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but since we don't know exactly what happened with the Chronicums in this show, or by the end of the series, it could be cool if, since now they're on the good side again, and they're using the time, like they know how to do time travels and timelines and whatnot, it'd be interesting if the Chronicoms became the MCU versions of the characters called the Chronomonitors, which are associated with the TVA, which is the Time Variance Authorities, who are going to be appearing in the Loki series. So it would be interesting if they found a way to, if this is the way to connect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the MCU Disney Plus shows. I know it's not going to happen, but I would really appreciate if that actually did become the case. Because in the comic books, the Chronomonitors are actually faceless characters, and the Chronicoms have no real skin, that they have to take people's skins and whatnot for their own. So yeah, I would really think that would be cool if they somehow connect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to the Loki series. So comment down below if I missed any Easter eggs, or if you have any predictions for how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could connect to the MCU movies and shows. So Disney Plus shows. So yeah, comment down below. See ya.